نبدأ بالنشيد الوطني اللبناني. شكرا. الزميلات والزملاء الكرام، عسى أن تكونوا بخير جميعا وصحة وأمل. أهلا وسهلا بكم في المؤتمر الخامس لجمعية المكتبات اللبنانية للعام 2021، والذي يأتي بالتعاون مع لجنة آسيا وأوكيانيا في الاتحاد الدولي لمؤسسات وجمعيات المكتبات IFLA تحت عنوان المكتبات قوة بعد أن كان مؤتمر جمعيتنا يشكل لجمهور المكتبيات والمكتبيين موعداً للقاء والفرح، ها نحن اليوم وبسبب جائحة كورونا نطل عليكم وتطلون علينا بوجوهكم التي اشتقنا إلى رؤيتها من خلف شاشة. نعم، لقد تبدل الحال كثيراً بعد مؤتمرنا الرابع عام 2018. بعضنا خسر عمله، بعضنا فقد أحبة له، بعضنا تطاير مكان عمله أو سكنه مع انفجار مرفأ بيروت في 4 آب الماضي. لكننا نحن هنا جميعا ومعا لنقول للوباء ولنقول للدمار ولنقول للموت بأننا أهل حياة وأهل علم وأهل ثقافة. سنمسح الغبار والزجاج المكسور عن مكتباتنا وعن متاحفنا وعن أرصفتنا وعن بيوت أهلنا وعن وجوه أبنائنا، وسنعيد بناء من هدم فينا وحولنا. فلا الغزوات ولا الاحتلالات ولا الزلازل ولا الفيضانات قويت يوما على بيروت، لأنها مدينة من تعب ومدينة من ذهب، ولا مفر لنا أن تظل نجمتنا وخيمتنا وشكل روحنا في المرآة. وكما عهدناها في التاريخ ستقوم من حزنها، ستقوم من تحت ردمها، فست الدنيا بيروت هي طائر الفينيق لا فرق، ذاك الطائر المسحور الذي يجدد نفسه من بقايا نفسه وينهض من رماده حياً. هكذا بيروت ستنكث الغبار عن جناحيها وستطير محلقة في الأفق من جديد. نبقى الآن مع كلمة ترحيبية من رئيس جمعية المكتبات اللبنانية دكتور فوز عبد الله. دكتور عبد الله هو رئيس قسم إدارة المعلومات وعلوم البيانات في كلية الإعلام والتوثيق الفرع الأول في الجامعة اللبنانية، وهو عضو في الاتحاد الدولي لمؤسسات وجمعيات المكتبات IFLA وفي جمعية المكتبات الأمريكية ILA. دكتور فوز تفضل.
اوكي، يعطيكم العافيه والسلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته. السيده تاو يانغ المحترمه رئيسه قسم اسيا واوقيانيا الاتحاد الدولي للجمعيات ومؤسسات المكتبات IFLA، الاستاذ جورج خباز المحترم متعدد المواهب مسرحي ومثقف ومبدع من لبنان، السيده باربرا لايزن المحترمه رئيسه الاتحاد الدولي للجمعيات ومؤسسات المكتبات IFLA، أيها المشاركون الكرام من الدول العربية والأجنبية، أيها السيدات والسادة الحضور الكرام. إن جمعية المكتبات اللبنانية بجميع أعضائها وهيئتها التنفيذية ترحب بضيوفها الأعزاء للمشاركة في مؤتمرها الأول الافتراضي الأول عبر الإنترنت، وهي المرة الخامسة التي تشارك فيها الجمعية بعقد مؤتمر بالتعاون مع الاتحاد الدولي لجمعيات ومؤسسات المكتبات IFLA قسم آسيا وأوقيانيا تحت عنوان المكتبات كقوة للتغيير Libraries as a Power of Change. أيها السيدات والسادة، إن جمعية المكتبات اللبنانية هي الهيئة الرائدة في لبنان التي تمثل مصالح المكتبات وخدمات المعلومات والمنتفعين بها. إنها صوت مهني للمكتبات والمعلومات، كما أن أهدافها عديدة ومتنوعة لدعم المكتبات وخدمات المعلومات في جميع الأراضي اللبنانية، من الاستفادة على قدم المساواة بالمعلومات لأغراض التنمية المستدامة والتعليم والتحفيز والإثراء الثقافي والنشاط الاقتصادي والمشاركة المستنيرة في الديمقراطية. لقد فرضت أزمة كوفيد أو جائحة كورونا على مجتمع المعلومات حول العالم خيارات مؤلمة حول الخدمات التي سيقدمها والخدمات التي لا يمكن تأمينها حاليا بسبب الوباء، وكذلك كيفية تقديم هذه الخدمات بدءا من القيود والإجراءات الصارمة التي أدت إلى الإغلاق الكامل أو شبه الكامل للمكتبات بأنواعها، وذلك بناء على حالات انتشار الوباء في البلدان والانتقال إلى تقديم الخدمات عن بعد من خلال الوصول إلى المحتوى الرقمي واستخدام تكنولوجيا المعلومات والاتصالات والحد قدر الإمكان من الانعكاسات السلبية على المستفيدين. إن الوضع الحالي فرض على المكتبات إعادة النظر بطرق تقديم المعلومات والتحول أكثر إلى المجموعات الرقمية وتأمين كل المستلزمات الضرورية لتقديم أفضل خدمات ممكنة إلى مجتمع المكتبات وحقه في الوصول إلى المعلومات بكل حرية ومجانا. إن الأثر الأكبر طاول المستفيدين في الدول التي تعاني من نقص في بنية تكنولوجيا المعلومات والاتصالات ونقص كبير في القدرات والمهارات عند العاملين في المكتبات لتأمين الخدمات الضرورية للمستفيدين مثل لبنان والعديد من الدول العربية. لذلك من المفترض إعادة النظر في مستلزمات مجتمع المعلومات بدءا من البنى التحتية إلى المراقبة والمحاسبة في بلدان ينخرها الفساد على الأصعدة كافة، بما فيه الفساد التربوي الذي له تأثير أكبر على المجتمعات من الفساد السياسي والاقتصادي والاجتماعي وغيره. ولذلك فإن جمعية المكتبات اللبنانية تؤكد على ما يلي: إن الحرية الفكرية حق لكل فرد، سواء في اعتناق الآراء والتعبير عنها أو في التماس المعلومات وتلقيها، وهذا الحق هو أساس الديمقراطية ويقع في صميم الخدمة المكتبية. إن حرية الوصول إلى المعلومات شرطاً أساسياً من شروط الدولة الحديثة، وهذا الأمر يؤدي إلى تسهيل المعرفة والمناقشات العامة، مما يوفر الحماية التامة ضد عملية إساءة السلطة واستعمال السلطة وسوء الإدارة والفساد، ويعود بالفائدة على الحكومات نفسها، لأن الشفافية والمساءلة والمصداقية والانفتاح في عملية صنع القرار يساعدون على تطوير ثقة المواطن بالأعمال التي تجريها الدولة، بحيث تساعد في المحافظة على مجتمع مدني متطور وديمقراطي. وقد أكدت المادة 19 من الإعلان العالمي لحقوق الإنسان أن لكل شخص الحق في حرية الرأي والتعبير، ويشمل هذا الحق حرية اعتناق الآراء بدون أي تدخل واستقاء الأنباء والأفكار وتلقيها وإذاعتها بأي وسيلة كانت دون تقيد بالحدود الجغرافية. إن إتاحة الاستفادة من دون عوائق من الإنترنت والمكتبات وخدمات المعلومات تساند الجماعات والأفراد في سعيهم إلى الحرية والازدهار، ومن المفترض إزالة الحواجز التي تعترض تدفق المعلومات، ولا سيما الحواجز التي تشجع اللامساواة والفقر واليأس. وفي الختام وباسمي وباسم الهيئة الإدارية وجمعية أعضاء المكتبات اللبنانية، نأمل أن يكون المؤتمر هذا من أكثر المؤتمرات تميزاً، ويظل في ذاكرتكم كمكان فريد للتعلم وتبادل المعلومات والخبرات بطريقة منسقة، وذلك لإفادة الجميع على أن نراكم في مؤتمرات وندوات ومرش عمل مستقبلا. وأتوجه بالشكر أيضا إلى داعمي هذا المؤتمر بروكويس، نسيج، سبرينجر نيتشر، تايلر أند فرانسيس، أكسفورد يونيفرسيتي بريس، وكذلك بالإضافة إلى العديد من الشركات التي تشارك في المؤتمرات القادمة. شكرا لكم وأصغائكم، وأتمنى لكم النجاح في تقديم المحاضرات، وإلى جميع الحضور وشكرا لكم جميعا.
شكرا دكتور فوز، يعطيك العافية. يسر جمعية
Thank you Dr. Fawz.
يسر جمعية المكتبات اللبنانية أن تحضر جلسة افتتاح مؤتمرها لهذا العام المكتبات قوة للتغيير، ضيفة خاصة من الصين. اسمحوا لي باسمكم جميعا أن أرحب بالسيدة تينا يانغ، الرئيس الحالي للجنة آسيا وأوكيانيا في الاتحاد الدولي لمؤسسات وجمعيات المكتبات IFLA، وهي أمين مكتبة مساعد لمكتبات جامعة هونغ كونغ. السيدة تينا لعبت دور المنسق لمناقشات رؤية الإفلا العالمية في منطقة آسيا وأوكيانيا، وساهمت في تطوير استراتيجية الإفلا 2019-2024. كما شاركت بقوة ونشاط في دعوة المكتبات لدعم أهداف الأمم المتحدة للتنمية المستدامة SDG. مرحبا سيدة تينا، أهلا بك بيننا، وتفضلي.
Thank you, Maya, for your introduction. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on your time zone. Distinguished guests, colleagues, friends, I would like to start by wishing you and your families my very best wishes for your health and safety. I'd also like to express my gratitude to the Lebanese Library Association for inviting me to give the speech at its annual conference. This is a long-delayed event for both LLA and the IFLA regional section of Asia and Oceania. Back in 2019, LLA and the Regional Standing Committee of Asia and Oceania section began to plan to hold the RASCO midterm meeting along with the LLA annual conference in March 2020. As many of the RASCO members, including me, had never been to Lebanon before, we were looking forward to this exciting opportunity to visit this country, famous for its exceptional rich cultural heritage. But unfortunately, this event was canceled due to the social unrest as well as the COVID-19 pandemic. It's been over a year since then. The past year was a year of disruption and change as a result of COVID-19. The old normal that we were accustomed to has been replaced with a new normal where technology plays a more critical role than ever. The changing behaviors of our patrons in the virtual environment are the driving forces for the digital transformation in libraries. Innovative technologies help libraries to transcend the physical boundaries, reconnect our patrons with our collections, facilities, and services, and rebuild our communities and empower libraries to change our society. On the other hand, the pre-existing digital divides are further widening during the COVID-19 pandemic and will more than ever turn into educational, social, and economic divide. In this context, the IFLA conference is a timely event which will address these transformative technology-enhanced initiatives, as well as arising social and ethical issues. Today's conference has a very special meaning for both IFLA and IFLA Asia and Oceania section, as it is the last IFLA conference joint organized by IFLA and the Asia and Oceania section. Under the IFLA new structure, starting from August 2021, IFLA Asia and Oceania section will be upgraded to the regional division, Asia and Oceania, and Lebanon will move to the new regional division for Middle East and North Africa. Therefore, I'm honored to speak on behalf of the section and this special event, and wish to thank again Lebanese librarians and IFLA for your support in the past years. And I'm sure that there will be new opportunities for us to work together under the same IFLA Regional Council. Lastly, I wish the conference a great success and everyone a most rewarding and enjoyable time together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you. Randa? رح نبقى هلا مع فيديو قصير لضيفنا لهيدي السنه الممثل جورج خباز، بس يصير جاهز مع رندا.
كبرت البنوت كبرت ست الكل، صار بدها تتجوز تتركني وتفل.
يكره الألقاب ويفضل مناداته بالدراماتورجي. جورج خباز ممثل، كاتب، مخرج، كوميدي، موسيقي، منتج وأستاذ جامعي.
بعز الشتي كنت انزل على مينا البترول، اقعد على البور الهواء عم بيلفح فيي وانا عم بكتب بالورق والقلم.
ولد في البترون عام 1976 من عائلة فنية، وتأثر بمسرح الأخوين الرحباني وبالفنانين تشارلي شابلن، دريد لحام وزياد الرحباني.
فطم 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 بكرة لما بيجي البرد مالك غيري كانوني.
بدأ عام 1997 بالكتابة والتمثيل ببرامج ومسلسلات تلفزيونية ناجحة مثل عبدو عبدو.
أولاني اسمه عبدو والتاني اسمه عبدو، أولاني بيخطب التاني وعبدو عبدو لعبدو.
عام 2005 أطلق مسرحيته مصيبة جديدة لتتبعها سلسلة من النجاحات المسرحية. عام 2006 قام ببطولة فيلم تحت القصف مع الممثلة ندى أبو فرحات. وصف الناقد المسرحي ديريك مالكولم أداء جورج خباز بالممتاز، وحصل على جائزة أفضل ممثل في مهرجان روتردام السينمائي الثامن. عام 2007 فاز بجائزة أفضل مسرحية من مهرجان موليير باريس عن مسرحية كذاب كبير.
طلعنا قرايب أسعدة، هلأ خلصت المسرحية.
عام 2012 كتب جورج خباز فيلم غدي وقام بدور البطولة، مجسداً معاناة الآباء ونظرة المجتمع تجاه قضية ذوي الاحتياجات الخاصة.
أنت بالنسبة لك ابننا مش ملاك؟
دخل غدي متأخراً سباق الأوسكار للغات الأجنبية، لكن فاز بجائزة الجمهور في مهرجان مانهايم هايدلبرغ السينمائي الدولي عام 2014. كما حصل جورج خباز على العديد من جوائز ميراكس دور ولميد مبروك.
ميرسي ميراكس دور، كل سنة ولبنان بألف خير.
أما مسرحية مش مختلفين التي صورت تبعات أحداث الحرب الأهلية على الجيل الجديد من اللبنانيين فلاقت صدى قوي وعززت موقع جورج خباز كفنان عابر للطوائف وجعلت منه نجماً لامعاً ومحبوباً على الصعيدين العربي والعالمي.
خايف تخلص الدنيا ويا وطني منستحي فيك، نسألوني انت مين بقلن شيعي او كاثوليك، سني درزي ماروني ارمني او سرياني ارثوذكسي بروتستانت علوي او علماني، بعرف عن حالي بطايفة وبنسألن لبناني.
أهلا وسهلا فيك جورج خباز.
أهلا فيكي، شكرا كتير على هالفيديو الحلو. كلكم ذوق عن جد، كتير كتير انبسطت فيه، شكرا.
أهلا وسهلا فيك. أنت السنة ضيف غير عادي على جمهور المكتبيات والمكتبيين، بالعادة ما عنا ولا مرة كان ضيف فنان.
نعم.
ورح يكونوا كمان جمهورك هالمرة مميزين لأنهم متخصصين. بدي أسألك أول سؤال، شو بتتذكر عن المكتبة اليوم جورج خباز؟
والله أنا كتير بفتقد للمكتبة صراحة. المكتبة بشكل عام، بريتويال المكتبة، يعني عوايد المكتبة. أنا ربيت ببيت، أنا بي كان عنده مكتبة بسد البشرية اسمها مكتبة السلام، وربيت ببيت إذا بدك لحم كتافه من المكتبة. ولما سكرت المكتبة بالأحداث بقي عندنا بقايا كتب وبقايا مجلات وجرايد بي كان محتفظ فيها، وكنت يعني اطلع عليهم وعشت إذا بدك جو هالمكتبة حتى بالبيت من ريحة الكتب. وعلاقتي مع كتاب علاقة كتير حلوة، علاقة قديمة، علاقة فيها نوستالجيا، بنفس الوقت علاقة فيها رفقة، لأنه هو رفيق التطور تبع إذا كان في من تطور. فأنا المكتبة بتعني لي كتير، الورق بيعني لي، الحبر بيعني لي، القلم بعدني لهلا بكتب بالقلم على الورق. انا ما بعرف اشتغل بعد كتير منيح على الكلافييه. يعني اختي لورا بدق لي كل شيء بكتبه، لانه انا بالنسبه لي الحبر هو يعني القلم هو حبر القلب، وبده ينطلق من القلب لحتى ينزل على الورق ينسكب. وحلو كمان انك العلاقة مع الكتاب علاقة إذا بدك بيتوتية يعني نوعا ما. بقرأ بالليل قبل ما انام، أو بفتح الكتاب أو بحط علامة أو بسطر تحته، فهيدي شغلة تعمل لك هيك علاقة إذا بدك إنسانية مع شيء هو لا إنساني بالنتيجة، بس أساساً هو فايض من المشاعر الإنسانية انسكبت فيه، بس وصل لك ورق بس هو مجموعة مشاعر بين إيديك، ففي علاقة إنسانية بشكل مباشر.
يعني بنفهم من حديثك إنه المكتبة من أنت وصغير من روادها، والكتاب بس يمرق على إيديك بيقول بيبين أثاره إنه مر على إيدين جورج خباز، بيطلعوا النوتس والتعليمات موجودين.
صحيح صحيح صحيح.
بدي أسألك جورج، بمسرحياتك شي مرة عملت مثل أمينة المكتبة يزعجك الضجة بقلب المسرح عندك؟ بتقدر تقدم لجمهورك هو عم بضج، ولا في جو مثل جو المكتبة بتحب يكون موجود؟
ما سمعت السؤال، قطش كتير السؤال إذا بتفيدي.
بعتذر كتير على المشاكل التقنية. عم بسألك
ولا يهمك.
عم بسألك بقلب المسرح عندك معقولة تعمل مثل ما بنعمل نحن بالمكتبة، نقول لهم للجمهور هس ليوطوا صوت لحتى يضل في رواق؟ تقدر تحكي وتقدم دورك هو المسرح ضاجج؟
اكيد لا، اكيد لا. المسرح بده يشتغلوا كل حواس المشاهد. مشان هيك ممنوع يكون في اي بارازيت على حواسه هو وحواس اللي حده، يعني لا لا لا، اذا بدك تشويش، لعدم التشويش على الانتباه. ونفس الشيء بالمكتبه كمان، يعني نفس الطقوس اذا بدك. يعني بالنتيجه شو هو المسرح؟ هو تحويل الناس لورق من خلال الكاتب، هواجس الناس وجدلياتها، وتحويل الورق لناس من خلال الممثلين. فأنت تقريباً عم تشاهدي هذا الكتاب المكتوب بالمرحلة النصانية، عم بتشاهديه بس بلعبة مشهدية ما. يعني أنا لما بحضر فيلم أو لما بحضر مسرحية كأني قريت كتاب، لكن ممثل بلعبة مشهدية ما، برؤية مشهدية ما من قبل المخرج والممثلين، محسوس أكثر، معيوش أكثر. ولكن بيشبهوا بعضهم كثير بالكثير من العناوين الأساسية هو الكتاب.
جورج خباز، تعرف وين المكتبة الوطنية؟
ولو مين ما بيعرف وين المكتبة الوطنية؟
زرتها؟
لا، كيف لكان كثير زرتها، وأنا بعتز إنه عندنا مكتبة وطنية، ولو بينقصنا الكثير. يعني بعد، يعني يا ريت الدولة تهتم أكثر بعد بالمكتبة الوطنية، لأنه هيدا إرث كثير كبير، له علاقة بالماضي، له علاقة بالحاضر، له علاقة بالمستقبل.
حسيت أنت وبالمكتبة الوطنية ناقصة بارت خاصه بالفن والثقافة؟
إلى حد ما، مش لأنه المكتبة الوطنية، لأنه ما كان عندنا كتاب أو ناقدين يكتبوا كتب لها علاقة بالبارت الفني كتير. يعني الكتب اللي بتتعاطى النقد الفني أو التحليل الفني أو التاريخ الفني خاصة المسرحي كتير قليل بلبنان. يعني المرجعيات عندنا كتير قليلة بهالموضوع. يعني هون ما ذنب المكتبة الوطنية، يعني عندها ما توفر من كتب.
ممكن تحط ايداع لك بكره اعمالك مستقبلا بالمكتبه الوطنيه، ايداع مجاني؟
بتمنى، وهذا شرف لإلي، هذا شرف لإلي، وبتمنى يعني اذا كانت اعمالي تستحق انه تتوثق وتنحط بالمكتبه، انا جاهز، وجاهز يعني، وبكون كثير سعيد.
جورج خباز، ما بتحس انه الفن المسرحي والمغنى كمان هو لازم يكون موجود ضمن مكتباتنا الثقافيه؟
اكيد بدون شك، لازم كل شيء، حتى الفن الغنائي والفن الموسيقي لازم يكون بالمكتبه الوطنيه كارشيف، كتراث، كتاريخ، لانه هذا بده يصير تاريخ. وما في شيء بيبني الشعوب وبيبني الانسان، او من اهم الادوات اللي بتبني الانسان هي الفن والثقافه. يعني انا في مقوله بتقول علم الولد يرسم العصفور ببطل اوصوا عن كبر. فكيف بالحري عم تعطيه مسرح، وعم تعطيه رقص، وعم تعطيه غناء، وعم تعطيه موسيقى، وعم تعطيه ادب، عم تعطيه ثقافه. يعني عم تعلمه يرسم النفس البشريه، عم تعلمه يحب حاله بالمعنى الايجابي، وهذا الحب بده ينعكس على غيره فيما بعد، وهذا بيساعد لبناء انسان على صعيد فردي ولبناء مجتمع على صعيد جماعي. لذلك اكيد انا بصر انه تكون، بس على شرط انها تكون بمتناول يد الجميع، ويقدر الكل يحصل على هذا الارشيف، لانه ما بدنا كمان نقوقع ثقافتنا وتصير محصوره بس بالناس اذا بدك. يعني انا ضد الطبقه الفكريه، لانه قبل الحرب مثل ما كان عندنا طبقه اجتماعيه، كمان كان عندنا طبقه فكريه. يعني شو بيقولوا يعني كان في شرخ ما بين العامة وما بين الشارع وما بين المثقفين. قعدوا المثقفين ببرجهم العاجي العالي، وصاروا يقولوا للناس طلعوا لعنا. هو لا، بالعكس، انت بدك تنزل لعند الناس وتطلع انت وياهم اذا في منطلعه. لذلك لازم ثقافتك تعدي اللي حواليك، ما تكون حكر لك، وما تكون بخيل بس لاجل التصنيف انه انت مثقف وغيرك غير مثقف، لانه ثقافه ليست حكر على حدا. انا ما بفهم بثقافه الارض قد الفلاح، ولا بفهم بنوعيات الناس ونفسياتها شوفير التاكسي. فثقافة ليست حكر على حدا. لازم نعدي بعضنا من ثقافات بعضنا لنقدر نعرف بعضنا أكثر لبناء مجتمع أسلم.
كثير. بتآمن إنه المكتبة العامة أو أي مكتبة ثقافية بأي ضيعة أو بأي مدينة هي ممكن تساعد بأنها تخفف هالديفايد بين الناس، الانقسام الثقافي؟
بدون
مجانية
شك.
القراءة هل هي بتساعد بأنه تخفف من الطبقية الثقافية اللي تحدثت عنها؟
بدون شك، بدون شك، على شرط انه تكون هل يعني اول شيء المناهج التربويه بالمدارس لازم ترك على هذا الموضوع، على موضوع القراءه والثقافه. ولازم يكون شو عم بيصير؟ كبستوا شيء. اوكي، لازم المناهج التربويه تدخل المواد الفنيه وتكون علامتها توازي علامات المواد العلميه. اوكي، لانه ما في العلم فينا ناخده هلا وين ما كان. يعني هلا بكبسه زر فيك تاخذ العلم، بس ما فيك تعلمي انسان بكبسه زر. بده يكون في تواصل انساني، ولازم يكون المنهج التربوي تفاعلي مش تلقيني. وهذا موضوع بقدر احكي فيه للصبح. ولكن انا كمان مع اللامركزيه الثقافيه، مع اللامركزيه الفنيه، مع احترامي للوطن، الى المكتبه الوطنيه الام يلي بنحبها كثير وبنعتز فيها كثير، لازم يكون في لها فروعها بكل المناطق اللبنانيه. يعني منه مضطر ابن الشمال ينزل يفقع مشوار على بيروت ليلاقي مبتغاه، ولا مضطر ابن جنوب ولا البقاع ولا الجبل الى اخره. لازم يكون بكل ضيعه، بكل بلديه، بكل مبنى ثقافي بالبلده يكون في مكتبه، وتكون القصص الاساسيه موجوده بمتناول اليد. لانه بتقرب انسانيه، بنقرب لبعضنا اكثر واكثر كل ما قرينا وكل ما صارت هواجسنا مشتركه وجدلياتنا مشتركه. لذلك انا واحد من الاسباب اني بعمل مسرح لانه المسرح بيوحد المشاعر. يعني بيجوا الناس من كافه المناطق ومن كافه اختلافاتهم ومن كافه تنوعهم البيئي والاجتماعي والعلمي، بيقعدوا بفرد صاله، بيضحكوا مع بعض، بيزقفوا مع بعض، بيبكوا مع بعض، بيصغوا مع بعض، بيصمتوا مع بعض. وهذا دليل انه القواسم المشتركه الاساسيه بالنفس البشريه هي عند الكل. شرط انه نعرف نختار ونعرف نفوت بالاعماق الجدليات والهواجس. وعلى طول بقول لهم انا انه حلو نطرح الجدليات، حلو نطرحها ان كان بالكتابه وان كان بتحويلها للعبه مشهديه. طبعا بالكتابه اللي انتم عم تقرا كتاب الخيالي بيشتغل اكثر. يعني انعمل كثير افلام مقتبسه من كتب، كان الكتاب على طول هو المتفوق بهذا الموضوع. والنسخه الكتابيه او النسخه الادبيه اهم من اللعبه المشهديه، لانه ببقى قاريينهم ومتخيلينهم براسنا، بيجي المخرج او الرؤيه الاخراجيه بتحدد لنا اياها برؤيته هو الشخصيه. قليل كثير الافلام الكتب اللي تحولت لافلام ونجحت. لذلك الجدليه اللي بتنطرح بالكتب او بالافلام لازم تكون واضحه وموجوده. لانه شو بيميز الكتاب او شو بيميز عفوا المسرح عن غيره؟ المسرح واحد عم بيقول ايه وواحد عم بيقول لا. اذا اثنين عم بيقولوا ايه صفى محاضره، اذا اثنين عم بيقولوا لا صفى مظاهره. اي متى بصير مسرح؟ لما واحد بيقول ايه واحد بيقول لا. وهون بنطرح الجدليه. ولما بتنطرح الجدليه انت تلقائيا اعطيت الحق للمشاهد بالاسئله وبالتساؤل وبالبدء للبحث عن حلول اذا في من حلول، بدون ما نطرح حالنا مصلحين اجتماعيين. وهيدي شغله الكتاب. يعني هذا قاسم مشترك كمان بين الكتاب والمسرح.
شكرا كثير جورج. رح ننتقل هلا على موضوع ثاني. لما بتعمل عمل فني شو هي الخطوات اللي بتقوم فيها لتكمل بحثك؟ يعني ادوات البحث العلمي اذا بدك لعملك الفني.
اوكي، انا اكثر قراءاتي بتروح على لما بكون عم بكتب عمل فني بتروح على كتب اللي لها علاقه بعلم النفس. لانه بالنتيجه لما بدي اكتب شخصيه، انا ما بدي الشخصيه تكون ترامبلان عن شو انا بدي احكي، بدها شخصيه هي تحكي شو بدها. مشان هيك نحن عندنا مشاكل بالدراما تبعنا او بالمسرح تبعنا، انه كل الشخصيات تحكي مثل بعضها، بتحكي مثل ما بده يحكي الكاتب، وهذا غلط كبير، لانه بدك تفتشي بالبعد الاجتماعي والبعد النفسي للشخصيه وتكتبي كيف هي بتحكي. وهون ببلش بحثي انا على الصعيد النفسي للشخصيات من خلال القراءات والمرجعيات بكتب علم النفس. تاني شيء بس كون عم بكتب شيء له علاقه بإيبوك معين، بمرحله معينه تاريخيه كمان، بستعين بكتب اذا بدك التاريخ الموثقه لبعض الاحداث ليكون في مصداقيه علميه اذا بدك تاريخيه بنقلي لها المعلومه، لو عم بنقلها بطريقه فنيه بمقاربه مختلفه. ف دائما في حوالي عملي مجموعه مرجعيات ومراجع اذا ما قدرت لقيتها بسال، يعني بتلفن وبسال ناس عارفه وقارئه وحافظه قصص لحتى اللي قدر استفيد من معلوماتهم لاغناء وسكب مصداقيه زياده على عملي.
يعني معقول تكون عم تعمل بحثك قبل العمل الفني بقلب مكتبة جامعية أو مكتبة عامة، أو ممكن تكون عم تعمله على الويب أو بمكتبتك الخاصة؟
قلت لك أنا عندي مكتبة خاصة لا بأس فيها، إن كان بالبيت بمكتبة أنا يعني بالمكتب تبعي. كتب لها علاقة أكثر شيء بالمسرح وبالسينما، بعلم النفس وبالتاريخ، وبفنون تانية مختلفة لها علاقة بالسينوغرافي أو بالفوتو، يعني بفن التصوير. ف ايه يعني بين البيت وبين المكتبات الجامعيه اللي بعلم فيها انا، ان كان باليو اس جي او بالان دي يو، او ان كان بمكتبات ثانيه يلي بنعرفهم، المكتبات التجاريه. وعندنا مكتبات مهمه بلبنان، يعني بتمنى انه هالمرحله هذه تمر على خير عليهم، بيضلوا فاتحين وواقفين على اجريهم. وطبعا المكتبه الوطنيه في لها قصه دائمه، لانه انا زيارتي لها هي زياره اذا بدك اكثر من انه زياره بحث واطلاع. طبعا ببحث وبشوف، بس زيارتي لها هي زياره مثل واحد عم يطمن على ثبات تاريخه الثقافي من كل النواحي، تاريخه من كل النواحي الموثق واللي موجود بين هالوراق هودي وبين هالكتب.
جورج خباز، انت اكتف على السوشيال ميديا او في حدا
مش كثير
موثق وبيتابع لك البورتل تبعك؟
نعم، تاني ايميل. في حدا بيتابع لي الصفحات، وانا لانه ما كثير قلت لك بعدني بالتكنولوجيا ضعيف، بعدني زلمه الورق، القلم والورقه اكثر، والكتاب بيعنوا لي يعني اكثر بكثير من السوشيال ميديا. ما بعرف قد ايه قادر ضاين هيك، بس لهلا مبسوط بهذا الشيء، لانه يعني ما عم تنفرض علي الاشياء، يعني عم بجرب انا ابحث انه البحث.
طب اذا حدا من متابعينك وجه لك رساله وتاثرت فيها، بتحرص انك ترد شخصيا عليها؟
اذا واحد وجه لي
احد
رساله،
متابعينك على السوشيال ميديا وجه لك رساله تاثرت فيها، بتحرص انك انت ترد شخصيا عليها؟ بتعمل هيك ممارسات؟
لكن اللي بيبعث لي رساله ايجابيه هو لوحده بيعرف اني راح انبسط كثير. يعني ما فيك تردي على الاف التعليقات والاف الرسائل، ما فيك تردي. ف 99% الحمد لله رسائل ايجابيه، وانا بفتخر كثير وبنبسط، وهن بيعرفوا هالشيء والا ما بيبعتوا. واللي عنده رسائل سلبيه اذا كانت بناءه بستفيد منها، اذا كانت هيك للتسليه وجارحه ودوام اساسا يعني ما بتحرز حتى قريه او كفيه، يعني مكتوب بينقرا من عنوانه من اول كلمتين تقدر تعرف اذا عم ضيع وقتك او لا. فلا اجمالا ما برد، لانه ضياع وقت، يعني ضياع وقت. وبالنسبه للقصص السلبيه، بالنسبه للقصص الايجابيه كلهم بيعرفوا قديش نحن كفنانين عايشين على الدعم المعنوي من المشاهد، لانه بالنتيجه عم نقدم فن تواصلي،
لا
ورأي
من
المشاهد
كومنت هون
بهمنا كثير.
بحبك الجمهور كثير.
الحمد لله.
خايف على مستقبل المسرح مع كل هالتطور التكنولوجي، مع نتفليكس، اليوتيوب، وسهولة انك تحضر اللي بتحبه انت وقاعد على السوفا؟
لا ابدا مش خايف ابدا. تقلك ليش؟ لانه ما بحياته المسرح تاثر لا بتطور تكنولوجي ولا بتطور فني ولا بتطور سياسي ولا بتغيير ديموغرافي ولا بأوبئة ولا بأمراض. يعني المسرح عمره فوق 2000 سنة من أيام الإغريق وما زال لهلا مستمر. اجت السينما قالوا انقضى على المسرح وكفى المسرح، اجى التلفزيون قالوا صار كل شيء وصلنا على البيت وكفى المسرح، وهلا اجت السوشيال ميديا والانترنت انه المسرح حاجه فنيه فكريه ثقافيه تواصليه. يعني هل رده الفعل الجماعيه، هالانرجي اللي بتاخديها من بعضنا كمشاهدين، منطلقه من العمل ومن الممثلين، وبترجع بتنطلق ردة الفعل من المشاهد. هذا التواصل الإنساني هذا ما في شيء بحل محله. هيدي اللحظة، عايش اللحظة مثل ما هي يلي ما بنملك غيرها، بتواصل إنساني مباشر، ما في شيء بحل محله. صراحة المسرح هو عرس يومي. يعني مرة سألوني إنه كيف فيك تقدم نفس الشيء كل يوم على مدى 6-7 أشهر تعرض نفس الشيء؟ أنا بقول لهم المسرح مثل السانست، مثل غياب الشمس، كل يوم بنحضره وبنتمتع فيه، وكل يوم عم نشوف نفس الكونسبت إنه الشمس عم بتغيب، بس كل يوم المنظر شكل، كل يوم الروحية شكل، بس القاعدة ذاتها، وهذا هو المسرح.
نحن بالمؤتمر لنا السنة كثير رح نحكي عن الذكاء الاصطناعي واستعمال الروبوتات علميا. معقولة شي نهار نشوفك عم تستعمل روبوتات على المسرح جورج خباز أو بالموسيقى؟
لا ما بعرف إذا يعني هلا ما في فكرة براسي، بس ما بعرف وين واصلين بقصة الروبوتات. ما بعرف يعني عن جد ما في جاوبك، بس بالمبدأ أنا مع الحس الإنساني. يعني حتى بحرص لما بسجل موسيقى بقلب استوديو انه يسجلوها عازفين، مش انه اخذها عن الاورج او عن قد ما تكون تشبه صوت الآلة. اذا بدك الصوت الاصطناعي قد ما يكون يشبه صوت الآلة، لان طوروا كثير ما بتجيب نفس الاحساس تبع العازف بذاته. يعني الاحساس البشري اللي عم يعزف على الآلة المعموله من خشب. صحيح.
شو رأيك بحق المؤلف؟ تشعر أنت أنه أعمالك المسجلة والمكتوبة محمية أو في انتهاك لحقوقك كمؤلف بلبنان؟
لا بالمبدأ ايه محمية. يعني أنا لهلا ايه يعني ماني شايف في انتهاك لحقوق حدا، لأنه في كذا إذا بدك كذا مطرح أو كذا حدا حاميلك هذا الشيء. يعني إن كان لما بتسجل بوزارة الاقتصاد مع الدولة أو السسام أو كل الجمعيات اللي تعنى بالحفاظ على حقوق ملكيتك الفكرية.
أوكي. عندك محامي بيتابع لك الانتهاكات أو الأخبار الكاذبة اللي بتتلفق عليك؟
لا ما عندي محامي بيتابع لي على الاخبار الكاذبه. عندي محامي اكيد بيتابع لي كونتراياتي وبيتابع لي كل القصص القانونيه اللي انا بدي امضي عليها وامشي فيها،
بس ما تعاطى
اللي لها خصه باعمالي. بس لا قصص الكاذبه اللي بتتلفق علي، يعني انه ليك بدي لك شغله انه اذا في تعدي، وهذا شيء بعد ما صار، تعدي على كرامتك، تعدي على شخصيتك، على خصوصيتك، شيء له علاقه بالشخصي بيأذي فعلا، إيه لا من واجبك انه بطريقه راقيه اللي هي من خلال القانون تدافع عن حالك. بس لهلا انا ما صار معي هذا الشيء.
في سؤال لحضرتك من عضو جمعيه المكتبات مس دومينغا، بتسألك انك انت تأثرت كثير بتشارلي شابلن اللي هو صامت، بينما مسرحياتك فيها كثير صريخ وضجه. ليه هالتناقض موجود؟
ما فيها صريخ وضجه مسرحياتي.
صوت عالي.
البعض منها انا هذا سؤالها إلها ولا سؤالك إليك؟
لا
يعني هي قايله صريخ وضجه. تحط ميوت بتشوف بتشوف تاثري بتشارلي شابلن. بس لا الا شغله،
لا بس لانك انت كثير بتقول انه تشارلي شابلن هو.
خليني الا شغله بس للسيد اللي للاستاذ اللي سالني هالسؤال. اول شيء مسرحياتي هي مرايه معكوسه للمجتمع، ومجتمعنا فيه فوضى كثير، ومجتمعنا فيه استهلاك كثير، واذا انا فعلا بدي اكون صادق بدي انقل الصوره مثل ما هي. شغله ثانيه بستعمل الكوميديا السوداء، وهذا تاثيري بتشارلي شابلن. الكوميديا السوداء يا سيدي الكريم هي عباره عن مأساة مقاربتها كوميديه. يعني انت بتطرح قصه فيها مأساة ولكن المعالجه كوميديه، وهذا شيء بتشوفه بمسرحياتي.
يعني هذا صريخ من المجتمع اللي انت فيه.
انا نعم.
جورج خباز، شو رأيك بموضوع محو الأمية وعادات القراءة؟ معقولة
عم بيقطش خطك كثير، عم بيقطش صوتك.
بعتذر، الوقت عم بيداهمنا. بدي انتقل لموضوع لبنان.
نعم.
كيف بتشوف يا جورج خباز لبنان اليوم؟ شو بيعني لك وشو ممكن توصفه لنا بعد كل هالأحداث اللي صارت مؤخرا؟
هيدا بيتي يعني ما فيش كيف واحد بده يحكي عن بيته، عن المطرح اللي فيه، عن المطرح اللي استثمر فيه كل حواسه وكل طموحاته وأحلامه، على المطرح اللي محوط فيه بكل الناس اللي بيحبوه واللي اهتموا فيه. يعني هيدا بيتي. شو بدي احكي عن بيتي؟ يعني ما اكيد لبنان كل حياته بيمرق بطلوع وبنزول وبيمرق بازمات، وكل ما يجي ليفتش على اكتفاء ذاتي بتلاقي اجى ضغط من مكان ما، لانه ممنوع يرتاح هذا الوطن اذا بيرتاح بشكل خطر على كثير من اللي حواليه. لذلك انا عندي إيمان بهذا الوطن، وعندي إيمان بالناس الطيبة والناس المجتهدة بهذا الوطن، وعلى طول بأسوأ الظروف، ونحن مرقنا بظروف بعد صعبة كمان بالحرب، ورجعنا يعني لبنان على ما يبدو مكتوب له بالسياسات الدولية بسبب موقعه الجغرافي وبسبب البوتنشل اللي عنده، مكتوب له إنه يضل عم يطلع وينزل، يعني لانه الاستابيليتي تبع لبنان بتشكل خطر كثير كبير على الكل.
عندك امل انه يتحسن الوضع قريبا؟
عندي تمني وعندي رجاء صراحه، مش امل، لانه الفرق بين الرجاء والامل هو الايمان. اذا بدنا نحكي امل يعني بدنا نحكي منطق ولا نحكي حسابات على الورقه والقلم، بلى يعني ما عندي امل من هالناحيه، بس عندي رجاء هو بالقصص المش محسوسه بالقدرات الالهيه. فعندي رجاء بانه هالوطن يرجع يرتاح. اكيد.
معقول نشوفك عم تضب شنطتك وتترك لبنان؟
لهلا لا. اتمنى انه ما يجي هذا اليوم، لانه في نوعين من الناس. عندك ناس مثل الطيور، عندك ناس مثل الشجر. الطيور بتروح بتشوف رزقتها، والشجر رزقتها مطرح ما هي، يعني مش هلا شيء. أنا من النوع الثاني، أنا مثل الشجر. يعني إذا نقلتيني في احتمال كبير إني موت، مع محبتي وتقديري لكل الناس اللي أرادوا أن يكونوا طيور، لأنه تنكون صريحين لبنان واقف على إجراء اقتصاديا من مال المغترب، من أول مغترب فل هلا. بس أنا من النوع اللي ما بقدر أتغرب، ما بقدر بالمسافات، راح ضل كل حياتي ببلاد الغربة غريب، وهون بدي صفي مغترب. فما عبالي تعبي هالمسافات،
يعني آخر خيار
ما عبالي
عندك
تنقل شلوشي من هون. آخر خيار الخنقة يعني.
طب ممكن
يعني
نشوفك وزير للثقافة؟
مش شغلتي السياسة
أبداً؟
أبداً، وما بعرف، صدقيني ما بعرف. بقدر ساعد بلجان، بقدر أعطي آرائي، بقدر يعني قول اللي لازم بقدر ساعد، بس ما بقدر أكون وزير ثقافة، لأنه حقيقة ما بحس حالي مؤهل لهذا المنصب.
نعم. شو ممكن تطلب من وزير ثقافة بلبنان يعمل، خاصة مع كل هالخضات اللي عم نمرق فيها وما في شيء ثابت غير ثقافتنا؟
المناهج التربوية بالاتفاق مع وزارة التربية، هذا أهم شيء.
عدل
نوع العلم يتغير. قلت لك يصير العلم تفاعلي مش تلقيني، مش حشو معلومات انه يابا يلا احفظ وروح وسمع ودرس واكتبهم وبس تخلص المسابقة بيروح كل شيء. يعني لازم يكون في منهج مختلف، والفنون يكون لها دورها الفعال والأساسي بعلاماتها بهذا المنهج.
عم يحكوا هلا انه يكملوا كل شيء معقولي ميكس مع اونلاين، يعني مش تغيير مناهج.
ما بعرف، هذا اونلاين هلا يمكن يكون موضه، يمكن لا، يمكن الكورونا انعمل بسببه لكل الرأسماليين الكبار عم يستثمروا بالنتورك. بس مش خبريه انه كمان بطلب من وزير الثقافه انه يعزز دور النقابات الفنيه ولا يقدروا يشتغلوا يعطوا الفنان اللبناني حقه الفكري وحقه الانساني والصحي والاجتماعي.
آخر سؤال لنا جورج، خلصنا. كيف بتشوف أوجاعنا وأحلامنا وأمراضنا وعاداتنا الاجتماعية الجديدة اللي عملتها وباء كورونا والتباعد الاجتماعي، كيف ممكن ينعكس بالمسرح الجديد وبمواده؟ بلش يطلع معك موضوع جديد من وحي الحجر والتباعد والانهيار الاقتصادي عندنا؟
اكيد بس انا ما بعالج النتائج، يعني هودي نتائج، انا برجع للكوز للاسباب، والاسباب لها علاقه بذهنيات انسانيه، بسلوكيات معينه. برجع للاساس. فمش ضروري احكي عن الكورونا، مش ضروري احكي عن انفجار بيروت، يعني ما كمان بالفن مش حلو تحكي عن شيء عم يحكي عن حاله هالقد، تحكي عنه بعدين لما بصير تاريخ ولما بصير أهل للتحليل. أوكي، لما هو بيسمح لك تحللي. هلا الحدث موجود
بعدنا فيه،
ما فيك تحكي عنه، ما قلك بالفضل تحكي عنه وبتصيري مثل لاحقة مو شيء ما أقوى منك. لا، حلو تفتشي على الأسباب اللي وصلتنا على النتائج السياسية والاقتصادية والاجتماعية والثقافية، وتحكي تطرحي جدليات الأسباب. يعني بتروح عند الحكيم، عندك طفرة بالجلد، إذا بيعطيكي مرهم للجلد مش كافي، هي نتيجة. المشكلة بالمعدة، بدنا دواء معدة، بدنا دواء منتاليتي
جورج خباز. نحن بنتشكرك كثير على إطلالتك معنا، كان الحوار كثير شيق ولقيناك كثير قريب باهتماماتك وبهواياتك مننا. كثير اجاك كومنتس على الشات حلوين، بكره بعدين ترجعوا بتقراهم. شرفتنا ونورتنا، ويا ريت اذا فيك تتابع كمان باقي اعمال المؤتمر، وناطرينك بمسرحيه جديده وبعمل جديد. نحن بناخذ الامل منك دائما.
أنا حابة أشكر مسيو جورج خباز على دغري لبى الدعوة من أول اتصال معه وتجاوب، وعن جد فعلا نتشكرك كثير، وفعلا إن شاء الله بتضلك بهمتك وبنستقبلك بركي بشي موعد تاني كمان بلقاء أكثر وأغنى إن شاء الله. Thank you very much.
من الله راد، شكرا لكم.
Thank you. Bye bye.
شكرا كثير، مع السلامة.
باي باي.
باي
باي.
اوكي، رح ننتقل هلا للشق اللي نرجع لشق المكتبات والامور المختلفه كلها سوا. I am now going to shift I'm going to speak in English because I'm supposed to introduce a very close friend that I met her a while back, and we've developed this relationship through IFLA,
which I think brings librarians and honestly the world together. It's a network for all of us to be able to get to know each other more and more and to benefit from it. Of course, I'm talking about Miss Barbara Lison. She has been working as the director of the public library system in Brenham for the past 30 years or more. And that system is one of the largest public library systems in Germany, by the way. She has a university degree in Slavonic studies, history, and educational theory, but her profession is a librarian, which we're all proud to be. Her duties in Bremen Library have actually been in advocating for libraries on the national, international levels. She has held several offices in associations such as the president of the German Library Association, DBV, the president of Bibliothek Information Deutschland, BID, which is the national umbrella of organizations for German libraries, which is not like Lebanon. In Lebanon, we have one association, and I think it's more than enough for one small country. She has also held leadership positions in the European Bureau for Libraries, Archives, and Documentation, EBLIDA, and including in the executive committee and as a vice president. And of course, she is a member of IFLA's governing board, and she has held the position of treasurer of IFLA, and she is now the president-elect. And I'm very happy to say that in August 2021, she will get her office, she will start her presidency till August 2023, which is we're very glad to have you with us, Barbara, because I know when you become the president of IFLA, it is going to be a really hectic time for you and what you're going to be doing. So Barbara, I now leave the floor to you and to your, what I'm going to call your international community. It's not just a Lebanese community this time, it's an international community. So this is your first, I think, visit virtually to the Arab world. And hopefully when all of this ends, we will be able to welcome you in Lebanon precisely and to the Arab world in general. Thank you, Barbara.
Oh, thank you, Randa. Thank you for your very kind introduction and your kind words. Hello, everybody, dear colleagues. I'm so happy that I have the opportunity to speak to you this afternoon. Actually, I was in Lebanon now. I think it's 13 years ago. with the Goethe Institute. The Goethe Institute invited me, and I have wonderful, wonderful memories about your country. And I'm so glad that you have this conference now here, and I can be at least with you in virtual form. And I'm very thankful to Randa, who is a real hero of IFLA as well. She's representing your country, and I have to say even more herself, very well in IFLA, and she's so active, and I'm so happy that she is also running for the elections, and the elections will take, well, they are ending at the end of this week, and we will know what will happen with Randa after the 1st of June, when the results of the elections will be propagated. So, yes, my presentation, I will talk about IFLA, of course, and I would like to, I think it was a nice invitation from your association, the journey of IFLA. So I would like to share some steps and some, some steps of IFLA in the last years. Just a minute, I have to open my.
Yes, you can share.
Yes, and then I will share, just a minute. I will share it. So, yes. So, IFLA, the global voice of libraries, and I said it's kind of reloaded because it is a kind of new IFLA. But before we say what would be IFLA right now and how IFLA is working right now, I think it's important that we have a look at some steps which IFLA had taken. So first of all, I'm not really sure whether all of you, do you see my screen, by the way?
Yes, yes, Barbara, yes.
Yes, okay, that's good. That's the most important thing. So I would like to share with you, and I try to move my, yes, I move my presentation. I'm not sure whether all of you are so aware what IFLA is and how IFLA works. And sometimes people ask me, what is IFLA for? Yes, of course, it's not a library association with no aim. The aim is to represent the interests of the library and information services and their users. I think this is important. We are not working for ourselves as libraries. We always are working for our users. It is, of course, a non-governmental organization and an organization which makes no profit. So all the money which is at IFLA and comes mostly from the members, this is again spent for the members. We have nearly 1,500 active members in nearly 150 countries worldwide. And our aim, of course, is to have all countries which have a status at the United Nations become members. That is, of course, not the states, but the associations in these states. You can see that IFLA is spread through the world. The headquarters, that's the red dot, red dot that is in The Hague in the Netherlands. And we have also regional offices and language centers. The regional offices are also, of course, related to the languages. And I am happy to say that Arabic is one of the languages which is an IFLA working languages. So I'm sorry that I cannot speak Arab, but I think your English is so perfect. I would like to have at least some words in Arabic to say something. And the other languages is Chinese, Russian, English, Spanish, French, and German. So I'm a German, so I'm of course happy that the German language is also one of the working languages of IFLA. You asked me for the way of IFLA, for the journey of IFLA, and the journey of IFLA is symbolized through these three columns. And I want to talk about these three columns now. First, the global vision, which was finalized in 2018. Then the IFLA strategy, which was finalized in 2019 in the last Congress of IFLA in Athens. It's a strategy between 19 and 2024, and it is based on the global vision process. Therefore, we do that like this. And based on the IFLA strategy, there was a governance review started in Athens in 2019, and now in 2021, this governance review came to an end because the new statutes are in power or have been decided. So you can here again see the IFLA development roadmap. So what you've just seen in the three columns, you can see now in a roadmap in a scheme. And you can see that there is the new IFLA structure will be in power in August 2021, but already the elections are in 2021, right now after the new statutes. So let's start with the Global Vision report summary. The Global Vision was installed already in 2017 or 2016 already, and finalized in 2018. And what was the conditions or the preconditions for this project of the Global Vision? We thought that the challenges which libraries have to face and have to meet are really dependent on an ever-increasing globalization. And these challenges can be only met and overcome if we are a globally organized, inclusive, and responsible united library field. So the question was, what is the characteristics of a united library field? Let's have this. So the key findings are, we are united globally in our goals and values. That came out of the surveys of the questions. And also the idea that to give good services to our clientele, to our customers, we must connect globally and we must act locally effectively. So we combine the global actions and the local actions and which shall be in high effectively. So, and this global vision always found highlights and opportunities, and we have 10 highlights and 10 opportunities together. And in my opinion, the opportunities, and I will say right away why, is not an opportunity, but it is a challenge. So the first highlight, which came out of a worldwide survey and a worldwide participation of more than 30,000 people, 30,000 librarians or even other people, because we had online votings on things, we had meetings, and I think Randa was as well, maybe someone of you as well, were present in the discussions which were releasing this process. So the first highlight is we are dedicated to equal and free access to information and knowledge. I think we all agree about that, but there is a challenge, because that means that we have to be champions of the intellectual freedom. The second highlight is we remain deeply committed to supporting literacy, learning, and reading. And what is the challenge? The challenge is that we must update our traditional roles in the digital age. We cannot stand in the traditional circumstances, in the traditional environment, but we have to move with the developments, together with the developments of the digital age. The third highlight is we are focused on serving our communities. Who would not say this being a librarian? But there is a challenge again. We need to understand community needs better and design services for impact. So we always shall strive to improve our service, and improving our services means we must know what the community wants. The fourth highlight is we embrace digital innovation. Yes, we do. But the challenge is we must keep up with ongoing technological changes. There is no stop. We cannot be satisfied by just one situation. We have to follow the technological changes as well as we have to follow the demands and interests of our customers. The next highlight is number 5. We have leaders who see the need for strong advocacy. And of course, for instance, Randa, she is one of the leaders who see the need for strong advocacy and works on it. The opportunity and challenge is we need more and better advocates at all levels. So not only library directors should be advocates for their libraries and the library issues and interests, but everyone who works in a library and even more. The sixth highlight is we see funding as our biggest challenges. I mean, that is clear. We need money, we need resources to do our work. So the opportunity and the challenge is that we need to ensure our stakeholders, they should understand our value and impact. So we need to talk with them. We need advocacy to find a way to open up their minds and open up, of course, their purses. The seventh highlight is we see the need to build collaboration and partnerships. Of course, libraries as standalone models are not working at all, have never done and won't work in future. So the challenge is we need to develop a spirit of collaboration. Collaboration not being a single person, but cooperate with others. That improves and enhances your impact as well. The eighth highlight is we want to be less bureaucratic, less inflexible, and less resistant to change. Sometimes we are very traditional, maybe conservative, and that doesn't mean we are resistant to change. Conservative means we have values and we want change to save these values and to bring them into the future. So the opportunity and the challenge is we need to challenge current structures and behaviors and find out how to improve our work. The ninth highlight is we are the guardians of the memory of the world, that's for sure, have always been, but this memory of the world should be accessed by the people. So we need to maximize access to the world's documentary heritage. And the last highlight, the 10th highlight, is regarded or is directed to the new professionals, to the young professionals. Our young professionals are deeply committed and eager to lead. And the challenge is we, the older ones, we should give the young professionals effective opportunities to learn, to develop, and to lead. This was the 10 highlights and the 10 opportunities of the global vision, which are the guiding stars for the next step, as I said, for the IFLA strategy, the IFLA strategy 2019-2024. And you can see this is the logo of the IFLA strategy. The logo symbolizes 4 strategic directions. Direction number 1 means strengthen the global voice of libraries, advocacy. Strategic direction number 2 means inspire and enhance professional practice. So this is the professional way. Strategic direction number 3 means connect and empower the field. Well, support collaboration, support a global library field. And strategic direction number 4 is optimize our organization, which is IFLA, which is meant by IFLA, because a strong IFLA also serves strong libraries. If there is a weak IFLA, the libraries don't have the opportunity to be supported on the international level that well as IFLA could do this. So let's have a look at strategic direction number 1, strengthen the global voice of libraries. What does that mean? It means that we listen to and understand the priorities of the whole field, and we bring the message through advocating for libraries and their values on a global and regional level, even sometimes also on a local level. So we strengthen the field through advocacy. The next one is an example how this could be done. Let's have a look at strategic direction number 1.3, work with library associations and libraries to identify key legal and funding challenges to their work and advocate for actions. And here you have an example that the IFLA LAC section, that's the section for Latin America and Caribbean region, and the IFLA strategy, they are trying to unite the library associations in their work. So the Latin America and Caribbean region has planned or is planning a collaboration between the associations. That's what we meant for this. Strategic direction number 2 is inspire and enhance professional practice. That means that we inspire the profession through future thinking, encouraging for promising new innovative approaches, that we try to drive developments through the libraries as well in promoting and publishing standards, guidelines, and also promoting best practice, for instance, in the library map of the world. An example is the agenda for the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which we started already in 2016. And we are now still continuing to promote the UN Sustainable Development Goals with a sense of libraries. And this refers to strategic direction point 2.2, deliver high quality campaigns, information, and other communication products on a regular basis to engage and energize libraries. Or Another one is Strategic Direction 2.3, develop standards, guidelines, and other materials for foster best professional practice. And you can see, perhaps some of you know that the Public Library Manifesto of IFLA is almost 20 years of age, almost 20 years old. So we really need a new Public Library Manifesto, and it's coming in 2021, which will be very useful and helpful for any public library in the world. Strategic Direction 3 means connect and empower the field. What does that mean? Yes, the IFLA is a hub. We understand ourselves as IFLA as a hub for dialogue and action. And we are the motor to connect and align the libraries in the field together and to enhance the spirit of collaboration, because the libraries should not be standalone models. They should collaborate and improve their services by collaboration and, of course, their impact as well. So this is Strategic Direction number 3 and some examples. For instance, Strategic Direction number 3.2, support virtual networking and connections. So the professional units, the IFLA has 50 professional units that are different sections for different branches of libraries, for different issues within libraries and so on. And we as IFLA have the organization and help these sections to work and to work successfully. So now let's have a look at the latest developments coming to the governance review and the new structure of the statutes. Another look at the IFLA development roadmap, which you know already. That is the governance discussion you see here, started in August 2019 and will be finished in August 2021 when the new statutes come into power. So what is the new thing in the new statutes? Oh, well, sorry, I have to add that the new statutes were endorsed by an extraordinary General Assembly on the 12th of February this year. So they are really very fresh, very new. So what is the new thing? Perhaps you are not really familiar, I wasn't either for a long time, with the structure of IFLA, but you see the governing board. That's the body who is the strategic body. And the governing board is supported by a professional council. The professional council is the representatives of the professional sections of these 50 sections, and the professional work is represented in the professional council. And now we have a new line, a new track, which is the regional council. So there will be 6 regions defined by the UN regional concept. There will be Asia Pacific, Europe, Latin America, Middle East and North Africa, that is the MENA region, and North America and Sub-Saharan Africa. And these regions will be represented in the regional council, and they will work together with the governing board. So the regional representatives, which was a demand from membership, are really now on the track. How this will work in practice is very interesting for me, because I will be the first president who will work with that regional council as well. And of course, I'm really looking forward to this, and I hope that the MENA region will have really good representatives in their committee, so that MENA region will be very well represented in this scheme. At the moment, we have the elections. It's the election phase, as I said, and the election weeks will finishing at the end of this week, and then there is the counting, and on the 1st of June there will be clear who will be on the governing board, who will be the next president-elect, and who will be the treasurer, because these persons are now elected directly from membership. So, something else. There is the first virtual IFLA World Library and Information Congress. Well, this was not an intention, of course. This is coming from the problems which we all have, the whole world has from the pandemic. So last year, unfortunately, we were not able to have any Congress because we did not have any time to make a virtual IFLA World Library and Information Congress. But at the moment, the sections, the headquarters, and the governing board, they are preparing to have this first virtual IFLA World Library and Information Congress. It will be 3 days from the 17th to the 19th of August. And you can see we will have 3 time zones for the streaming. It will be mainly a streamed Congress as well, but I hope it will be very interesting. The next Congress in 2022 will be a hybrid one, at least we hope so. We will go to Dublin for the present locations, and we will have these 3 time zones again for the online streaming and any other information and events. So I think I have told you a lot about IFLA, and I hope that you enjoyed it and that you perhaps now know more about IFLA and even more new things about IFLA. And so please, let's be inspired, let's be engaged, enabled and connected through IFLA and in the library world. We are IFLA, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you very much for a very detailed presentation on IFLA and where IFLA is going in the future. And hopefully this will be a very bright future. I know with you being the upcoming president, it's going to be a bit of a hassle because everything's new now for all of us in IFLA, especially with you. So hopefully we'll be able, and as you said, we have a MENA division right now. So I think the MENA associations should come together and should really work hard and because to raise our voice the way we wanted to raise our voice. Thank you very much, Barbara. I hope you will stay with us to the question answer sessions
sure.
In case our attendees would like. I would like now, Mr. Sebaaly, if you can give me just a couple of minutes to explain some in-house issues so that people can stay with us on board, as we mentioned. Okay, this might have been a bit late to most of us, but I think it's better late than never, as they say. We were mentioning the issue of the conference being online. Just a few notes on what is going on right now. The conference is being recorded and it's being streamed live on our Facebook channel. So you can join us from any post you want. Of course, then the recordings will be posted online. We will look into the chats. If there are certain questions in the chats, the comments, we will raise them to the related speakers, those of Mr. Khabbaz and other speakers as well. Just some instructions for you. As you know, since it's a webinar, our attendees are muted and their videos are off, except later on in the discussion sessions. If you need to express yourself, we might turn some of the the microphones and the videos on. There's a question and tab answer at the bottom of the screen. If you'll notice, if you have any questions for our speakers later on, please just type them in and we will get to them. We might not be able to cover all the questions, but then if we notice that there are questions targeted towards specific speakers, we might relate them to them and get the answers from them and pass them on to you. Definitely. We also have a sponsors booth, and thanks to our sponsors, they've always been very generous and standing next to us. So you will notice that on the conference website, there is a section on sponsors where you can go in and see our sponsors. They have their portfolio, and there is a virtual booth. So you can also visit them in their virtual Zoom booths. And if you're not able to have anyone online with you, they also have WhatsApp chat boxes on their portfolios. where you can speak to them and chat with them, and they will definitely get back to you on all issues. Our sponsors are, as we mentioned before, and we're very thankful to them for that. And I hope you enjoy the conference. It's going to be 3 days and hopefully online. This is our first experience from a virtual conference, so I hope we will be able to do the best we can and so on. Thank you very much. I would like now to move on to our next speaker, Dr. Milad Sebaaly, Lebanese in nationality, of course. He's the Managing Director of Global Learning, the Middle East leader in e-learning solutions, which is a very good way to start the conference. He has played a key role in shaping the face of virtual education as we know it today in the Middle East. He started his career as a project engineer in Hyundai Engineering and Construction for a few years, and then a research engineer in robotics and AI at Denso Toyota Group in Japan for 5 years. You're moving around, Dr. Sebaaly. Over the past 20 years, he launched several startup companies in the MENA region, specializing in technology, artificial intelligence, and learning. He has managed several innovative large-scale projects related to digital transformation of educational institutions, applying his expertise in artificial intelligence, management, academia, and automation. He has a vast and diverse academic experience at leading universities in Japan, the US, UK, and the Middle East, including chairman of the IT department at the American University in Dubai in 1998, founding provost of the first accredited virtual university in the Arab world, Syrian Virtual University 2002, the founder of the first accredited blended learning academy in the Arab world, a Jordan Online Academy, Al-Balqa Applied University 2007, sorry for pronunciation. He has played a major role in producing the new Global Index for Critical Thinking Skills Measurement and Development in partnership with Cambridge University in 2006. As an international figure in the area of artificial intelligence, robotics, and automation, he is a founding member of various international organizations. He has invented new models for private-public partnerships. I can go on with a long list of achievements. It would never end, I believe. And he served as the president of Middle East E-Learning Association. I didn't know we had an e-learning association. And he has earned his doctorate degree in systems engineering, specialized in artificial intelligence, robotics, automation from Nagoya Institute of Technology in Japan. So I think you would find yourself very comfortable in IFLA because you have the Japanese, the MENA, and Europe, and so it would be very good. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Sebaaly. And I'm sure your experience, and I hope we will see you in Lebanon, sharing your experience with us in Lebanon and the education in Lebanon. That would be very nice to see, hopefully in the future. So please, the floor is yours. And please, all the participants, if you have questions for Dr. Sebaaly, just type your questions in the Q&A. And for Ms. Lisbon as well. Yes, Dr. Sebaaly.
Thank you very much, Randa. And it's a pleasure to be with you today. And I've been a little bit far from the library business, so to speak, but I lately, during the COVID, I had some exposure to different activities related to how to transform some of the activities in various libraries in the region into some kind of smart library services. So today I will go through a couple of points. One, the new trends in library as I saw them. Maybe you are more experienced in that than me. And then the disruptive technologies that are affecting library services. And then AI specifically as one of those disruptive technologies and its applications in various fields, and specifically how it's affecting the smart library services. To start with, I think that it's very important to have, first, can you see my screen? I believe you do.
Yes, Dr. Sebaaly, yes.
Okay. So to start with, there are a couple of entry points regarding the functionality of and the role of libraries at a national and international level, starting with provisioning of information for human development and sustainability, and then it should be at the right at the heart of any national policies and strategies for economic, social, and cultural development, which unfortunately, when I was listening to George Khabbaz, I thought that this is totally out of sync in Lebanon. And this is why I would like to say at this point that whatever I will be saying about technology and AI and different applications, the starting point differs from one country to another and from one library to another. So I will be talking in general, not only about, I don't have much information about the Lebanese library system. I would love to learn more about it. But what I will talk about is what has been happening globally and in the regions where I was part of some related teams. So the library's obligation is to be at the edge of different uses of culture and technology, as someone has put it. And at the same time, the main mission of the library is to offer equality of access to information for every citizen and to be a trendsetter in digital use and implementation of emerging technologies. Specifically in the digital era, there are several changes that libraries have to deal with. First, in the user needs, in terms of transitioning from print to digital, and the use of different types of and forms of digital content, and how to transform the services themselves into digital, intelligent, value-added, and how to have a new delivery system at distance, especially that was highlighted during COVID, which will be available 24/7 all over the year, and the changing search behavior and experience and expectations of users with all kinds of social media that are available and search engines around. So in addition to the changes in the concepts of referencing, cataloging, indexing, and the systems that are related to new logic rather than the old 19th century logic that has prevailed for over 100 years at libraries. In addition to the increasingly vast quantities of unstructured data. Nowadays, with all kinds of devices connected, as you will see in a minute, we have a lot of unstructured data versus the old structured data. The changes in professional skills, we need more data scientists, more data analysts, and so on, and a new generation of librarians, actually, as we'll see by the end of this session. And therefore, we need to automate the different processes, to optimize space, and to make intelligent decisions and provide intelligent services. Accordingly, the library operation has been affected directly, or is going to be affected more in the coming couple of years, by the advancements of the Industrial Revolution and digitalization, artificial intelligence, IoT, big data, robotics, quantum computing, cybersecurity, 3D printing, and so on. And this will transform the library from a place to gather and read books or search for information to an innovative, smart library which can provide new information, generates added value for the people, become the lungs of knowledge in the world of research and education, promotes digital citizenship and skills, copes with the speed of the digital technology developments, upgrades jobs specifically related to digital skills, use technology to deal with information overload. As you will see in a minute, the quantity of data collected and therefore available information is by far more than what the human intelligence can cope with. And also to help distinguish the trusted and fake information. So the library new role, or the library of the future, would be an infrastructure and open access platform, as well as a social and community hub, and an intellectual and learning center, especially now with the development of all kinds of digital learning, informal learning, lifelong learning programs, and so on. There is a major role that the library can play in that direction, as well as an intelligent and digitalized environment, which provides different types of services. So the conventional services of acquisition, processing, lending, awareness, biographic, and maintenance are now a little bit limited, and what is needed is more something, a new ambience, a new space to implement, bring your own device, a cyber library to accommodate users with various disabilities, a space to display thoughts, ideas, intelligent and flexible catalogs, a single portal where students can or users can access all kinds of services from one single point, federated and AI-based search, which means searching in different databases of different libraries that are connected into different virtual networks, cloud, mobile, social media services, as well as various security systems, RFID, biometrics, face recognition, digital signage, statistical services, AR, augmented reality, virtual reality, robotics, robots, drones, etc. So all these are have started to be implemented in a way or another at different speeds in different libraries across the world. At the beginning, libraries started to introduce Internet of Things and different devices that are interconnected and some RFID technologies. But if you want to move to a full-fledged smart library, you badly need artificial intelligence for the reasons that we talked about, as there is a need for more efficient, fast, and high-quality services, more attractive information and information interconnection environment, more diversified information sharing space, and modern scientific and technological means to increase readers' experience and users' services. And intelligent services that can be brought into the normal business of the library would be self-borrowing and returning systems, mobile and network self-renewal systems, intelligent inventory and positioning systems, 3D printing, augmented and virtual reality navigation systems, digital assistants, intelligent seat reservation and space optimization, etc. And the top trends and priorities for libraries in 2021 and on is first, inclusivity, the availability of open access, the changing nature of education, how to cope with it, and digitization, optimizing operations, and media literacy. So the second part after this initial introduction about libraries would be about disruptive technologies that are definitely going to change different status quo, either at the library level or in many facets of life. First, big data. We hear a lot about big data, which is a collection of all kinds of data that are structured and unstructured, which libraries can use to analyze their data holdings and understand the users better, and thus provide different types of personalized services and smart services. And the direct impact is that it will allow for a better reach of customers, better connection with the community, personalized user experience and content and resources, cost reduction, automation, faster and better decisions. And the fields of application in libraries are related to data analysis and visualization. But there are some limiting factors, such as lack of qualified skills and data protection and the openness of data issues, and then the funding problems. Blockchain is another technology which also it uses a distributed database that organizes data into blocks, and those blocks can only be updated by people who have the right access for that or the rights to do that. And this is usually built in libraries in order to have an enhanced metadata system which keep track of the different changes and updates to the entire system, and validate credentials, provide community-based borrowing that could extend the traditional library collection beyond the library walls, in addition to secure intellectual property and other areas. Internet of Things is, again, connecting all kinds of devices to the internet, either through RFID or through Wi-Fi or different types of internet connection. And an example for that is to have a self-service kiosk, which is monitored from the main library, which can be anywhere, and then it tracks usage and identify usage trends, make recommendations, and so on. And the library can offer a better use by enriching its services and collections by implementing different types of IoT devices and sensors, where all books, for example, can become material objects that can be automated, or the return system can be automated so that the books are tracked, the rooms are and spaces are tracked, program attendance is tracked, monitoring humidity, all kinds of services within the library or online can be, data about all these can be collected into one single place, and later on we'll talk about how it is analyzed. Robots and drones, of course, this is a bit advanced, but now once you go away or go out of the software or virtual world into some physical world where you need some movement, you need some delivery of books, you need some selection of books from the library and collection and so on, or organizing the shelves and whatever. This can be done by different types of robots that we started seeing them in different libraries. And in addition to the delivery by drones to different places wherever the user is, based on his location, which can be provided by GPS. Augmented reality is another very interesting technology, which is a technology that superimposes a computer-generated image on the user's view, as you see here in this in this tablet, where you have all kinds of additional information about what you are seeing as live as shelves within the same place. So this can be applied for augmented books, where if you look at the book, you can see a video about the topic that is available in the book. And now this is becoming very important for interactive curricula as well as for transforming books into some interactive material, guided tours, searching for media, gamification, shelf maintenance, all this stuff. There are many applications that are still at the prototype level, or they started implementing it in different places in Europe, US, and China. And then comes artificial intelligence, which can start by asking, can machines think? Can machines behave intelligently? And it's a very broad concept. We'll talk about it in a bit more details, but it provides different levels of intelligence, flexibility, and it tries to mimic the functionality of the human brain and surpass it sometimes in many specific aspects related to speed, precision, and power, especially in controlled environments. So AI can play a critical role in the library values and the way of work. It shifts the focus from what we have now to the way we navigate the information architecture in the future, how to access collections, and how to expedite and optimize processes in order to free the librarians and the human operators from labor work and make them focus on enriching the public library experience rather than doing tedious, repetitive work that can be done by different machines or software. And the challenges for this are how to attract new, diverse audiences, how to provide a faster, better user experience, how to bridge the emerging skill gaps that we will be seeing, and how to compete with other information sources such as Google and social media and others. So having said that about AI, we can look a little bit about some jargons or some fields that are relevant. For example, what kind of fields or disciplines are relevant to to AI as a field. Some people might say computer engineering or computer science, or that's it, or mathematics. But it has to do something with, it has some boundaries with philosophy when you ask whether we can create a human brain if the computer power reaches a certain point or bypasses the power of the human brain. Can we create a human brain or a robot or a software that can think and react and have emotions and have intentions like the human being? And this is also related to religion even, because many people would say this is spirit and not mind and brain and so on, which is something I personally have gone through a deep discussion back in 1994, 95 when I was doing my PhD in that field. And then you have economics, neuroscience, psychology, computer engineering, control theory, linguistics, and so on. Different applications of AI or different applications that are AI enabled, such as expert systems, natural language processing, speech recognition or understanding, handwriting recognition, computer vision, machine learning, intelligent agents, fuzzy logic, lot of subtopics that are under a huge umbrella called AI, to the extent that even big data analytics cannot be done without AI, decision support systems, robotics, autonomous robots, and so on. So how did it start, and what do we mean today by AI? First, the main three topics or disciplines that we really find a lot around are AI as a global or as a main title, and then machine learning, which is a subset of AI, and then deep learning, which is a subset of machine learning. What are these? AI started a long time ago, and it started in the 60s, 70s, and 80s using logic, if-then rules, decision trees, expert systems, which are precise and they can give you the same results when you do repetitive jobs for a long time. But their intelligence was very limited, very hierarchical. And then later on came the machine learning, which is a subset of AI, which includes statistical techniques that enable machines to improve and learn by experience. So they learn step by step, but this learning is based on some statistical techniques. And then comes the deep learning, which is more into mimicking how the human brain is physically constructed. So as you can see in this slide, from the 50s to the late 70s, everyone was talking about artificial intelligence, and what they meant at that time was some kind of structured automation. And then after that, they started talking about machine learning till the late 2000 or beginning of the second millennium. And that involved learning by learning machines. So the machine will improve its performance from one iteration to another, whereas in the first model, it was repeating the same results. And then later on, deep learning or artificial neural networks, which we will see in a minute. And they will try to, those who try to mimic, as I said, the human brain in order to, so the first type, I would call it logic and rule-based AI, and then pattern or machine learning, and then deep learning. So the first type has different applications or models, such as expert system, natural language processing, text and voice recognition sometimes, and then pattern recognition, which compares a certain image or data to a set of data in the database in order to decide which way to go and so on. Whereas the machine learning is a bit more related to algorithms, mathematical models, training data, unsupervised learning based on training data, and then predictions, future predictions. Some sample applications of machine learning, again, is sentimental analysis. I think we have a presentation today about sentimental analysis as well, and sentiment analysis and extraction of key topics in the data and document classifications and so on, in addition to image and video recognition, face recognition, intelligent AR navigation, self-driving cars and so on. The artificial neural networks, it's a simulation or kind of mimicking the structure of the human brain, assuming that there are a number of neurons at different layers, an input layer where the input is given and an output layer, and in between there are hidden layers. The more layers we have, the more complexity we can represent. And this kind of artificial neural networks, when it's applied to solving problems, it's called deep learning. And with sufficient number of hidden layers, we can take any kind of data and we can train the system by giving them input, output data. So we need to have sets of data that are available. So we can give them, let's say, a picture of a car, and then we say as an input, and then the word car as an output, then another picture of a bicycle, and then the output is text. And then later on, if he sees a bus, he will have to produce a result for the bus. So there are many types of applications for that, which we started seeing, starting from personal assistants, which like the ones we see on the mobiles, which were based mainly on machine learning rather than deep learning. But nowadays, virtual assistants, chatbots, receptionists, healthcare diagnostics, entertainment, aggregation of different components, composing music, image captioning, autonomous robots, reviews, summarization of documents automatically, correction of essays, and so on. All this is done by deep learning applications. Now, a little bit of history just to know where we're heading. First, I will focus mainly on the exponential growth in computer power, which you can see in this exponential growth here. And since in the past 100 years almost, we started with very primitive electromechanical things, and then we had relays, and then we had vacuum tubes, and then we have transistors, and then we had integrated circuits, and then we have personal computers, all the way to the year 2015, when the computer power surpassed the brain power of a mouse. And things are moving very fast now, so that by 2023, the existing processing power would surpass the brain power of a human being. And by 2045, it's expected that the combined computing power over the clouds and the aggregation of clouds and utilization of different thousands of farms of servers at the same time, this will reach a point to surpass the brain power equivalent to the entire humanity. So again, this is a fast-moving world, fast-moving technology. Humans will have to coexist with technology. They will have to deal with cloud computing, cybersecurity, robotics, augmented reality, simulation, Internet of Things, and big data analytics. And at the heart is AI. So humans must merge with machines or become irrelevant, as Elon Musk says. And there are a couple of questions, as I said before. Can we emulate or simulate a human brain if we reach a computing power which surpasses the computing power of the brain, which means if we build a computer, a supercomputer, which can be as powerful as the human brain, can we build a human, or our brain is not only the physical brain, but also a self-conscious soul or spirit, as it's called in different places and different sciences and even in religion. And can AI development lead to some kind of artificial consciousness? When the machine reads, nowadays you can see a lot of OCR, and if you scan any text, it's automatically translated into text. But does it understand the meaning of that text? If we can put some AI there, maybe one word by word, it can do the matching. How about sentence by sentence or overall essay? Or when we go and do some sentiment analysis for social media in the entire country to see whether the overall population is happy or not very happy about a specific topic that happened today or a specific event, and so on. In addition to all this, AI is becoming is driven by the amount of data that is being generated. Currently, in 2010, we had a certain amount of data which is measured in zettabyte, where 1 zettabyte is 1 billion terabyte. 1 terabyte is that hard drive that we have, external hard drive at home. So in 2020, we had 44 zettabytes, which is 44 billion terabytes all over the world. And then it's expected that in 2025, this 44 will become 175 zettabytes. Also, during 2015, 2016, the amount of data produced by all kinds of devices is equal to the total amount of data that has been produced, digital data that has been produced from the beginning of human history. And in 2020, there were 26 billion IoT devices. Obviously, just to make a point here, out of these 27 billion IoT devices that are connected to the internet, there are approximately 7 billion mobile phones and computers. All the rest, which is around 19 billion, is different types of devices that produce all kinds of unstructured data, like data that comes from any connected device at home or in the car or whatever. And all this data is not being analyzed. Only 5% of this data is being analyzed. Now, this number, 26 billion devices, is expected to become in 2025, 76 billion devices. And this is why the current internet system cannot cope with all this drastic increase in the number of connected devices and the amount of data that's available. And this is why we need the 5th generation, the 5G, which is now becoming part of the international geopolitics and competition. So only AI has the power to analyze this data, because human intelligence is limited and cannot cope with all kinds of this data, especially the unstructured data, which requires AI to do some kind of pattern recognition or data mining and do some intelligent correlations in order to come up with some future trends and expectations. Therefore, there are 3 clusters that are being merged together: the physical world, which includes robotics and the human being and so on, and the digital, which is everything in the cloud and software and so on, and devices, and the biological. Now even there are modern technology in neuroscience and biotechnology and so on that is directly communicating, where chips are directly communicating with the brain, and different types of neuroscience innovations in that field. So we're going towards an unlimited computational resources and connections, pervasive computational thinking. Everything is recorded, nothing is forgotten. And we're moving to a master algorithm. Imagine when all those connections, all those data clouds and data farms and so on can be integrated together and work as one master algorithm, which is now being implemented in different ways in social media and analysis of the huge amounts of data that are produced by the Facebooks and Google and Twitter and all this stuff. So this exponential growth has produced different types of applications, including driverless cars, traffic patterns, robots scanning and understanding environments, HoloLens, language translation, computer writing reviews or resumes or grading essays, instead of you going and reading a Plato 1,000-page or 500-page book. If you can have a system that can give you a 20 pages summary, that would be great. So again, this is not replacing the human brain. It's kind of supporting and coexisting and enhancing the human power, so to speak. And this has been implemented in different fields: healthcare, medicine, education, security, transportation, and so on. Just to give this final slide about this part related to how can we use AI? Do we have to buy everything and host it on our servers inside the library and whatever? Nowadays, everything is on the cloud. Major companies have shifted from, IBM have shifted from hardware production and all this stuff into building modern, innovative, huge, large-scale solutions. One of them is IBM Watson, which is their brand for AI mega system. This system is based on a Linux Red Hat operating system that sits on various, an aggregation or a hybrid cloud platform, which utilizes all kinds of power and storage from different clouds, from IBM Cloud, Amazon, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, and others. And then on top of that, you have different types of tools for automation, for data analysis, for security, for building applications, for integration with different areas, for optimizing management processes, and so on. All this is provided to any user as a service. So it's all hosted on the cloud. All what you need to do is to build some, and on top of this, they have already some base and extended services to help people easily design their processes or collect their data or provide the input to the system, and then the system will provide you real time with the outcome of the AI. So AI now is provided as a service, similar to software as a service. When you subscribe to Office 365 online, or you subscribe to IBM Cloud Pack for AI, once you do the local design of your system and your processes and so on, the system on the cloud will do all your AI for you. Of course, this is one option, and one of the major questions that is always asked for any small or medium enterprises or even chains of libraries, whether you want to develop a solution at home or in-house, or you want to get a ready-made turnkey solution, or you will bring a third party to help you develop and understand where the technology is going and how it can improve your processes and so on. And the good thing is that since today we're talking to a huge group of experts from different libraries in Lebanon and internationally, this is something that will become a daily development, and a lot of standards will appear from different associations and groups of libraries across the world. Now, when we implement technology, any technology, into any new business or process or structure, there is this SAMR model, which starts with introducing basic technology to substitute some activities, but no functional change is implemented. And then the second layer would be to augment, where you use more technology to act as a direct substitute, but some functional improvement to that specific sector. Then modification, where you start redesigning the tasks, and finally redefinition, which is to create new tasks that were not previously inconceivable. Obviously, the first two are in literature called enhancement. The second two are transformation. In library technology, so to speak, before implementing AI, many of the automation systems that have been in place for decades now have been doing the first two layers. And then with more smart and intelligent applications, we will see more transformation of different services and tasks. So the integrated library system, or the different types of library automation systems used to automate the conventional tasks or services or activities at the library, from acquisition to cataloging to searching to circulation to different networking and so on, and sharing. With artificial intelligence, many of these services will be further developed and enhanced, and new services, including recommendation systems, virtual assistants, robotics, AI, AR, different activities. So what are the main changes that we can foresee by implementing AI into the library activities? Probably there are three main pillars. One is intelligent resource system, which boils down to developing some intelligent procurement decision system for the procurement activities of the library. The second is intelligent management of different managing storage, warehouse, books, and so on, or security management. And the third type is intelligent services, including application services, consulting services, and knowledge services. When we talk about intelligent resource system, we see that it can automatically collect and integrate all kinds of user personalized demand information, as well as various other influencing factors, including group characteristics, user personalized information, recommendations, and purchases of books, expert advice, annual budget, and so on, as well as looking what is available as open source in order to optimize the decision of procurement. The second part, which is under intelligent management, it starts with warehouse management. So if you can produce a self-service management, which is an automatic book circulation and paper document management, where books are stored randomly on the bookshelves, not in order, and thus reducing the multifarious bookshelf arrangement tasks, where a robot system can do the management of automatic and unmanned counting or checking and sorting of books, of book storage, and so on. This can be done by integrating RFID technology and having an intelligent book inventory robot, like it's been implemented in different places in China, in North Carolina State University, the BookBot, which is a robot that manages up to 2 million items and delivers any item within 5 minutes of clicking on the online catalog. And it does full data tracking of all transactions at any time. And also another example, the Work Robotics Project, CAPM at Johns Hopkins, which automatically retrieves books on the shelves and carries them to scanning stations and performs even automatic text analysis after scanning if needed. And the second type of intelligent management is intelligent security management, related to seat management, lending management, identity management, face recognition, fingerprints, linked to student information, so students don't have to carry their identification cards anymore. Just by scanning their face, they can go wherever they are allowed to go. And this is done through implementation of deep learning or even machine learning at the face image acquisition, then pre-processing, then feature extraction, and then matching with whatever existing databases, and then recognition. The other type of intelligence is at the service level. We have intelligent applications, such as when you implement self-service seat management, for example, or library ATM, or print copy management, or appointment management system for lectures, and so on. This is done by, again, having breakthrough to the space, or this will result in the breakthrough of space-time boundary with artificial intelligence and help the library to expand the services, extend the services, and expand the scope of targets, and therefore reducing logistics and labor cost. And it enhances the user's engagement and optimizes the allocation of resources and reduces the probability of manual or human errors. Intelligent consulting services. This is an important part of the library services, but it is usually limited in number. It's usually insufficient because of the limited number of consulting librarians and the low efficiency of manual consultation, as well as the time limit for consulting work. And when we introduce intelligent consulting services, it can effectively meet the user's needs and make up for those shortcomings, as well as it can realize the independent, instant, convenient, and always available services for the library anytime. And this has been implemented in various universities, mainly in China as well. The third type is intelligent knowledge services, which is the core of the library services. And this is related to in having more innovative solutions and rapid development of AI technologies have resulted in the possibility of developing or of capturing intelligent analysis of user behavior, intelligent management of information, intelligent operations of services, and so on. So the overall implementation of all these technologies have been slow for various reasons, mainly insufficient funding, difficulties in big data collection, and data is not open all the time and not available, short supply of AI talent, and lack of AI thinking or strategizing at the library level. So AI now has the ability to both enhance and replace existing library functions. On one hand, some of the functions can be enhanced, some of them can be replaced, if provided that libraries develop innovative thinking. And also, there are some influences on the future of libraries, such as having next generation of search, browsing, and intelligent search, and semantic, away from semantic analysis and keyword search, integrated speech recognition, machine translation, speech synthesis to support real-time and multilingual translation, cloud services for translation and identification of diverse and complex content, in addition to some other additional services that are being integrated, including guidance services, deep learning models for information retrieval, as well as accurate information intelligence by collecting different types of personalized information in order to provide services such as recommended books, literature information in specific field, cutting-edge research hotspots, and other things. All this would require a new librarian or a new set of roles for the librarian, including thinking out of the box, becoming an information manager and analyst, information advisor, system and networking manager, change agent, facilitator, somehow educator, collaborator, business manager, knowledge manager, and so on. We're not saying that we need to replace all the existing librarians. In fact, there is part of it upskilling or training and upgrading the skills of existing librarians, as well as attracting new blood with new skills into the new library system once all these changes are implemented. At the academic library level, also there are various activities that are rotating around, providing personalized student learning, so the librarian would be taking care of supporting curricula with online content, personalized professional learning, maintaining the robust infrastructure, looking at the budget, the data privacy, collaborative leadership, and optimizing space and time. And there are also some other roles specifically related to enhancing the existing and conventional services at the library level. Finally, I do not intend to replace librarians, but to enrich and enhance knowledge exchange and interpersonal interactions. Therefore, libraries should look at AI in a more positive attitude and contribute to the activation of smart library functions and services. And library staff upskilling and the recruitment of new skills is a major factor of change. And AI solutions, when you say, I want to implement AI at my library, are you going for turnkey solutions, as I said before, or develop it locally, or use third party, or hybrid? These are decisions that need to be done based on case-by-case situation. Again, funding is a big issue, and there is some difficulty to show a financial ROI that is attractive for government institutions or even for university management in order to put the required investments or funding so that this change is being implemented at the library level. And of course, managing the change, because many people would be afraid of what technology will bring. Many people would think this is too risky, this is something very far. We should not start it now. Let's delay it as much as we can, and let's keep doing what we're doing with some minor modifications, and then we will see what will happen. So again, there should be vision, strategy, and change management. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sebaaly, for such an extensive presentation. I think this needs a session on its own. And I think you have opened our eyes to what's coming in the future and what we as librarians should also be watching out for. Because I think you notice they always tell you that librarians are always hesitant to change. I do not agree with them on that. I believe we are like chameleons, we adapt as we move along. You know, a librarian 30 years ago is not the same as a librarian today. So that's one thing. Well, now we can move on to the question and answer session. Barbara is back with us. Thank you, Barbara, for waiting with us for the session. We actually have a question for you, Barbara, and this is from one of our colleagues, Maria Cotera. She, first of all, thanked you for the presentation and what's going on. She has a question related to the virtual Congress that's coming up. And she says, we know the Congress is the main source of income for IFLA, as you mentioned in your presentation as well, and that IFLA has pledged to make it affordable as possible. But would the sessions be made freely available after the Congress? Would they be able to assist in presentations or the streaming, or what?
Well, I have to disappoint you when you think that the Congress is the main source of income. It depends, really. In former times, actually, IFLA had income, well, a net income through the Congress. Though I know that registration fee is rather high, but still there are a lot of costs which are involved in just planning and organizing this Congress. So, and if we had income, a lot of income went into the IFLA Foundation, from where we already had some projects and sponsored some projects for the libraries. So it is not, unfortunately, the main source of income. It's the membership fees. And so we are really happy that the members pay their fees very well. Now to the WLIC, to the World Information and Library Congress. We will have on a platform if people agree, of course, they have to agree by copyright reasons. If they agree, everything will be on a platform until the end of this year. So you can have enough time and save your time, your precious time. So you need not sleepless watch the Congress all the time, but you can then have a look at the platform where the streams are saved. And this is a server which will last until the end of this year.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. Thank you very much. Dr. Sebaaly, we have a question from a Lebanese colleague, Dominga Aboud, and
Yes.
she's talking more about the bad conditions of the infrastructure in Lebanon. You're giving us such fantastic solutions, but how can we apply this when we have such a bad infrastructure in Lebanon? And would we be able to provide these services to our users, our students, our faculty? What's the solution here?
Well, I've been involved in the past year with online learning in Lebanon as I was in charge for some short time about developing the new curriculum. But I can tell you stories about the problems in Lebanon and the infrastructure well, let me stay within limits. So
yes.
the point is, infrastructure is a problem today for sure. No electricity, internet connection, everything can be hindering. However, such solutions will take at least a year or 2 or 3 to be implemented. And technology is moving ahead. Once we have 5G, which is probably 3 to 5 years from today, you will not have any issues anymore with probably most of the current connectivity issues that that make us frustrated in Lebanon will cease to exist. So technology is moving. Lebanon requires a different solution. Lebanon requires first a new political regime, a new political solution. But
we need AI in this case.
AI, actually, we have plenty of robots. We need less robots in Lebanon. So the point is, those solutions do not require heavy infrastructure when it comes to the user. Because the user is using his mobile or his computer to go into Google or any other service, and most of these services at the back end, they use similar technologies. So what you need is the connectivity between the library and the cloud. Should be a good, reliable connection. Now, this probably will put some additional cost on the library itself, but on the end user, whatever exists for any other service exists for this service. So whether they're spending some fun time on social media or they're using this part of this time for some constructive work through library services and smart library services, it will be the same in terms of the end user experience.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sebaaly. Barbara, this is a question for you. Based on, we've heard some of our colleagues always saying that they think that to be a member of IFLA, you have to be a member of an association. And we're always telling them, no, they can join IFLA as individuals. But then some of them raise the issue of the high membership fees. So do you think, we go back to the budget thing with IFLA, do you think, because I know, for example, in the Arab world, we do face a problem. I'm going to talk about the Levant region, which is Lebanon, Syria, Palestine, unfortunately, which now is going through, the whole region now is going through a disastrous period. So what would IFLA's solution be to attract the younger generation of the MENA to become members of IFLA and to participate in IFLA and its activities? That's the question.
Well, that's a very important question. And we have different categories of membership. So if you are an institution or you want to join IFLA as an institution, of course, there's a rather high membership fee. You can also join IFLA as an associate member, as an individual. Like I am an individual being an associate member of IFLA, which has now a reduction for 2 years already, for half the price, and we just made half the price. So it's 85 euros a year for an individual to be an associate member. But there is no need, now this is not a promotion for IFLA, but I have to say this, there is no need if you want to work in a section with IFLA, if you want to join people for a special topic or a special branch, library branch or whatever, it does not matter whether you are a member or not. So you can join IFLA's section. In any case, you can work there without being a member of IFLA. Once you are a member of an association, a national association like the Lebanon Library Association, you are kind of a member of IFLA. So it's a bit complicated, I know, but to join IFLA, to work with IFLA, there is no need to become a formal member of IFLA. So that is important to know. Of course, you have to engage with your time, you have to sacrifice your time a little bit. And if you want to visit or to join the congresses or to join the meetings of the section, then of course you have to pay for the travel, and that's it.
Thank you very much. Dr. Sebaaly, there's a question here concerning, well, because you just mentioned the situation, especially in Lebanon. The actual, how can libraries in Lebanon and the Arab world benefit from the AI and IoT with the situation we're in, and with, you know, the impression that, let's be honest, the impression people have about libraries in the Arab world is not like the States or Europe or China, or I'm going to move to China, it seems like. So how would you be able, how would I as a librarian, let's say as a director, and this goes back to advocacy, Barbara, how will I convince my administration to actually, and we mentioned it as one of the challenges, to actually support me financially, human resources, develop my skills to be able to answer to the questions of artificial intelligence and IoT? That's a question we're thinking about.
Well,
both of you can answer.
So
go ahead, Dr.
Would you like to go? Yeah. So as I said at the beginning of my presentation, the starting point would differ from one country to another and from one library to another. And you rightly said that in the Arab world, and mainly in Lebanon, maybe some other countries have different status as well, libraries don't have or did not yet take their national role or their national development role. I mentioned that libraries should be not only a platform or a place where people should gather to read books and get information, but also a social hub, a learning and development hub, a digital services, awareness, all this stuff. So these roles are not yet achieved or anywhere close to achieve in Lebanon. And I personally don't know much about many of the libraries. I read about them after I got the invitation from you. What I knew about before was the AUB academic libraries or some libraries at some universities. So this social / developmental / cultural aspect of the library is not there yet in Lebanon. Now, whether we implement technology or not, for sure technology will expedite the exposure of what a library can do in society, especially with the new normals after COVID. However, when it comes to budgeting, this is another story, because as I said, ROI is very hard to show. And in advanced countries, ROI is very hard to show. How about in countries with financial crisis and with less exposure of the strategic role of libraries and the lack of this identity of a network of libraries? I mean, I would love to see you guys more in the media, more in society, more people understanding that there is a network of collaborating libraries across Lebanon, who would then, if they want to buy any solution or to implement any solution, anyway, the cost will be distributed rather than one single library would close on what it has and would do all kinds of competition with the next door library. I mean, you are one community, and there is a long way to go before we reach a point where we can say we're ready to implement the latest technology.
Yes. Barbara, I have a question for you. We just spoke about it right now, the advocacy issue. I know advocacy is not it's a skill. It's not very easy to implement. But let's say for Lebanon, let's say the Lebanese Library Association, would IFLA be able to help us to develop an advocacy plan? I know we're supposed to take it in the BSLA, but would we really be able to reach out to IFLA as a Lebanese Library Association, Lebanese community, and then of course get the region to start developing their advocacy skills, presenting advocacy plans, as Dr. Sebaaly says, you know, going on the media, you know, being more proactive, let's say. Where would IFLA help us in this?
Well, IFLA will help if possible. So we could not help a special library association, that's for sure. We could not help a special country. But maybe this new regional track about which I told you will show that, especially in the MENA region, there is a further need for bringing people to be able to do advocacy in a better way. So maybe this comes through the regional demands, through the regional interests. This is one thing. IFLA had a big, as I showed you already, IFLA had a big project which was called International Advocacy Program. That was related to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, because one thing is so important: advocacy alone does not help anything. You want to do advocacy, first you have to look at those whom you want to advocate and look at their interests, because I think the most important thing is to relate your impact, your work, to the interests of those who should be advocated. So the politicians, the decision makers, look at the programs. What do the politicians want? What do the decision makers want? And then think, how can my library or my library association help to bring this forward, help them to achieve their goals? And if you show that the library can help them to achieve their goals, then you are in a much better position for advocacy, for funding, for support, than if they don't understand why is there a library at all. And of course, what I wanted to say as well, because Sebaaly said this as well, there is no use in one single library to do advocacy on a general level. So there needs to be an atmosphere, to create an atmosphere that libraries are important, and then a single library can work and achieve maybe their goals and advocacy. But it should be a general landscape of the libraries are important for a country, for the development of the people in the country. And then a single library can start. But a single library to start with, that's really very hard and difficult.
Yes, I know. Thank you, Barbara. Dr. Sebaaly, we go back to another question. It's a dual question here, and they're asking about the best way to upscale the library workers today as they are. And another question related to it in another aspect is, in the Arab world, do we have institutions that are offering degrees that are getting the new generation of librarians ready for this? Or do we need to study our curriculums and go, or do we have to go and travel and get our degrees from somewhere else?
Okay, couple of points that are interrelated. First, I will start from the last question and then go back.
Yep.
Our universities or Arab universities that are offering library study or library information management or whatever have archaic and old curricula. They need to modernize their curricula. In any way, even in my opinion, digital literacy, which includes many areas related to library activities, should be included even in school curricula, not only university curricula. This is one. Two, the trend nowadays for lifelong learning and continuing education and even higher education is to shy away from conventional degrees and go to micro-credentials and to shorter certification programs that are very specialized in specific areas. And currently, with the new trends of online learning and MOOCs and many other EDX, Coursera, Future Learn, and so on, you will find hundreds of available, either free or very low cost courses, and which lead to specific professional certificates or micro masters or whatever, which can develop specific areas of the skills and competencies required by the new librarian or the nowadays or the future librarians. The main starting point would be, though, is that each library or each association puts a common ground of what would be required from a librarian in Lebanon in the coming 5 years, which might be a little bit different than what is required in Germany, by the way, or in other Arab countries, or in China, because then you have to start wherever you are now and do some kind of needs analysis and needs assessment in order to tailor the right programs for Lebanon or for any other country in the region, or even for your own library. And nowadays, there are a lot of tools that can be done. This is why when I said that library management nowadays should include an aspect of professional development and education rather than just going to one-size-fits-all training session on how to use Microsoft Excel. I mean, this is totally out of.
And if I may add, we talk about librarians and we talk about the education of librarians, but I think it's also very important to have people from other expertise in the libraries, to have people who are not a basically educated librarian, additionally to the librarians, who bring in other and new specialties and new expertise, and then get the knowledge how to act in a library, how to manage things in a library through learning on the spot. But it is important because there are so many disciplines in the world which are necessary in libraries. And so I don't think that any librarian can be upscaled to a high computer specialist, but we need high computer specialists. And therefore, we need a mixture of different professions, of different specializations and expertise in the libraries, and to collaborate within the libraries with people who have no librarian education, but are very useful for us. So it's important to have a well-mixed staff in the libraries.
Yes. Thank you. It's very clear. Thank you. And I think that is important. I come from, my BA was not in librarianship, and then I continued my master's, and you, Barbara, come from also very different, and it's a very dynamic field. It's a very varied field that is capable of encompassing all, being inclusive. This is the field of inclusivity. I have one last question for you, Barbara, before we leave. I want you to share with us a joyful experience that you've had as president-elect in IFLA.
Oh dear, you see, I started my presidency 6 months or 7 months before COVID arrived. So that is really funny, but a joyful experience is always to travel. Mm-hmm. But at this time, I did my last traveling in February last year. Mm-hmm. But still, my joyful experience is to meet with so many people in the virtual world now. But I think I met with more people in the virtual world and discussed with them than in the natural world and discussed with them. So that is a different experience. It's not really only joyful, but it's a different experience. And for instance, the governing board of IFLA, so the strategic board of IFLA, in former times met 3 times a year. Well, yes. During the Congress in April and in December. And now we have met every second month, even sometimes every month. So that is also a joyful experience, to be closer or to have closer exchange, though we don't have the opportunity to have a coffee together. That's the thing. That is so, I have to say, I will continue with this, but I'm really longing for personal experiences again, to have coffee together, to have a glass of wine, to have dinner together. And I hope this will come back.
Yes, definitely. Thank you very much. Dr. Sebaaly, also a last question for you, since we're talking about experience. I've had the experience in a library where the biggest question raised is privacy, protection of data. Especially now in Lebanon, we have major digitization projects going on heritage collections. As Barbara said, that is another mission that we have, preserving our heritage. A lot of librarians are hesitant in moving into this cloud and placing all their digitized material on the cloud, no matter how secure. The Pentagon got hacked. I don't know, these are things that make us scared a bit. How can you make it a bit brighter for us in life? make it easier for us to, okay, it's okay, you can do this, but you can do that as well.
Okay, I just answered a similar question on the chat.
Oh, okay, sorry.
It's okay. I can tell you that the moment you digitize your material, you have to store it somewhere, right? On your personal computer, on the server, on local hosting, on the cloud, on a private cloud, on public cloud.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Probably hosting it on the cloud is the least unsecure option, because putting it on your computer or your mobile or your server inside the library, it's much easier to hack physically and technologically than hacking the cloud. Now, when it comes to the cloud option, there are many options. There are the public clouds. You can have your own account on Amazon or Azure or whatever. Or you can have a private cloud on one of those international services as well. And also, I just told them, for example, in Lebanon, Ogero has created or now is able to provide public and private cloud services, and they have hosted Google technology. So you can have your own cloud for the association or for one library in Lebanon, let's say AUB library, since I know them. And this private cloud is hosted on Ogero server farms. It's very secure. No one can go into your data, including Ogero. And it's based on international technology like Google or others. Now, people who hacked the Pentagon would, if they try to hack that private cloud, they might be successful. I can't guarantee that, but for sure, it's much easier for them to hack your own servers at the library.
Okay, but it all comes down to cost anyway. We can go on talking for hours and hours and hours. I know it would be great, and I hope we will be able to invite you both again, maybe on other events at our association, to talk in more detail and get to know you personally more and to get to know your different expertise and experiences more. Thank you very much for a very interesting session, Barbara, Dr. Sebaaly. It was very nice, and thank you very much. Dear participants, we are going to go now to a very short break, 15-minute break, and then come back to the second part of the session. During this time, you can visit our sponsors in their booths if you want, log out of the session and then come back again. And there are wonderful words to both of you, our speakers, Barbara and Dr. Sebaaly. Thank you very much from all our attendees. They have the comments on the chat, so it's a pleasure to have you both. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Randa, for inviting me. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
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 Thank you. Bye-bye.